Welcome into the Boardroom Podcast. I'm Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
Chad Wicker, Ward 4 Alderman. How you doing, Ben?
It has been busy, Chad. It's busy in Hernando right now.
It is.
We got people winning all kind of championships. And,
Yeah, I had a packed house at the meeting.
yeah, definitely. Lots going on. Soccer season's in full swing. So coaching both my girls. I think I mentioned that on a previous episode there, but they're doing really well. They keep getting better and better. Tell you what, they're good little players. A lot of talented kids out there.
I can't remember who made the point. It may have been the mayor or someone that I think the soccer program really in Hernando started about 15 so years ago, and now our high school's won a state championship. I think that is connected in some way, that having that opportunity for the kids to get in there and start.
There's a lot of people that, the Cunninghams, the Cranes, the Big Lanes, there's a lot. I don't want to leave anybody out either, so I hate started a list there, but there was a lot of people that, raised money and put a lot of sweat equity and time into having a soccer complex put into the ground and, making it a reality because they saw the bigger picture. Our boys want to play and this and that. And
I think our kids are kind of like 5 or 6 years behind that group, so I think they were the initial group that kind of got the soccer complex. I think they're the Friends of Hernando Soccer or something was the name of the group that's now under the big umbrella of Hernando Sports. But
because the complex is only 10 years old.
Yeah,
it's not. It hadn't been there forever. So
it's a nice. And to talk about that, I was out there Saturday. My son plays the 8U League or whatever, and those fields are nice. Parking lot looks good. It's a lot of people there. I think some of that maybe is, I think Nesbitt's is taking the spring off,
right.
But it's surely, I think, over 600 kids are playing in the league there.
Most they've ever had.
Very good game, competitive games. I think the teams are very competitive, so we have a healthy soccer league here.
If you haven't been out there on a Saturday when games are going on, I bet there's over 1,000 people out there sometimes. With grandparents and parents and kids and everybody counted in there.
Let me ask you a question. Are dogs allowed out there, Ben?
They are not. So that is one thing you'll notice if you're out there. There's some signs that say no dogs allowed.
What are you laughing at?
Because there were some dogs out there this weekend. There were some dogs out there this weekend that they had to, I guess, tell folks, hey, listen, you can't have the dogs out here right beside because you got to think, what do dogs like doing? Chasing balls. On a soccer field.
You got that. You got the safe, but also they go to the bathroom out there, and
that's not good either.
And unfortunately, some owners don't pick it up or don't have the proper equipment to pick it up, and then kills the grass if they pee out there.
Proper equipment. What kind of proper equipment?
Well,
Hooper scooper.
Well, no. If you've been to a park.
Proper equipment, your hand.
Well, you gonna pick it up with your hand?
With a baggie on it?
A lot of people don't have the baggie with them, Ben's what I'm saying. They don't bring the baggie with them. Like, my little leash for my dog has the baggie on the leash.
Oh, that's pretty handy.
We got that years ago, but a lot of times you take your dog for a walk and he goes to the bathroom in somebody's yard and you're just, whoops.
Yeah. We need to walk our dog more. We don't get our dog out for walks often enough, clearly, because we don't have the little thing like you're talking about. We take a Kroger sack with us.
Yeah, well, you could do that too. That's the low rent way, I guess you could say.
It is.
What else is going on, man, in the city?
Soccer's good. So we got that. Check that box off. We did recognize the 7A state champions at our meeting on Tuesday. Soccer state champions. Great job by the boys.
Girls basketball team.
7A cross country state champion. Caitlin Burge, and then the girls
she said,
basketball.
Ben, and I do a little bit of running.
You do?
She said she averaged a 5:14 mile.
That's quick.
That is. I'm in disbelief. That's
rolling.
I'm like an 8-minute mile guy, and to go that much faster, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how
people in the Olympics are like 4-minute miles.
I know.
Right?
But whew. 5-minute miles,
5-minute mile in high school.
And I'm not sure what event she was in there. I know it was a distance event, but she's quick.
Cross country.
Yeah, cross country.
So that's not. That ain't walking. That's not running on a track either.
Yeah, that's right.
You're running over hill and dale through the woods. 5:12 or 5:14 or what? That's rolling.
So if you see I think there's a picture floating around Facebook that I think her parents took or something. I'm like, got my head down. I'm in disbelief. That she could run that fast.
I tell you what, the other thing that with these pictures of all these champions we were honoring, the soccer team.
Yeah, get you a ladder, man.
The soccer team, them boys are tall. They've been getting fed some good groceries on the soccer team because those kids were tall. I had to stand on my tippy toes to get in the picture.
They're 7A state champions.
That's the reason.
These guys are legit.
So we had that go on.
You forgot the girls' basketball team.
The girls' basketball team, district champions, which is a great accomplishment too. I mean, we have really big high schools up here. I mean, that's why they're 7A.
I know you're originally from Georgia or whatever, but North Mississippi typically has a pretty strong basketball. Girls and boys basketball.
I've been to a high school game out at Myrtle before.
Yeah.
Some of these, especially like in the northeastern portion of the state.
New Albany, Pontotoc, that area, they're real strong in basketball. Always been. I think that's from Milton Kirkendall was a coach there.
Hickory Flat.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. That's where Roger Wicker's from.
Is that right?
Hickory Flat. Yeah.
I sure didn't know that.
I believe.
Speaking of Roger Wicker,
Uncle Raj.
He's not your uncle, but we got to make sure people know that's a joke.
Yeah.
I don't want people thinking
worked both ways.
I guess that's a good point. Roger Wicker, current U.S. Senator, he has 2 challengers in the upcoming primary.
Yes.
On March 12th. March 12th is primary day in Mississippi and in DeSoto County and Hernando. So you want to make sure if you see those vote here signs, get out and vote on Tuesday.
Yeah, so we're recording this on Thursday the 7th. So obviously election day is the 12th, but you have until, I think, noon on Saturday to vote early. Is that right? Isn't Saturday the last day?
That's it.
To do early voting if you're going to be if you're over 65 years old or older, or if you're going to be out of town on election day, you can vote early. I encourage you to do that. Miss Dale does a great job with her staff. They're getting people in and out of the courthouse. And so if not, you can vote on election day. They're open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And it's spring break week now, so people
we're going to D.C. taking the boys out of town. So we're catching our plane on Tuesday. We're going to vote that morning. But
gotcha.
So very important election. I mean, Mississippi, a lot of times the Republican primary pretty much
decides the outcome.
The outcome there, and Roger Wicker has been. I think this is going for his second full term as a senator, and he was appointed when Trent Lott stepped down. I think back in 2007, and so I think that's right.
I think it might be his third term.
Third elected term. I know he was appointed by the governor. Then I think he's ran a couple. They do 6-year terms.
It's hard to keep it all. It's hard to keep it all straight. But yeah, he's been in politics a long time.
He's been he's been a fixture in North Mississippi state politics and federal politics. I think he initially came to the office part of the Republican, taken back to Congress in '95. He replaced Jamie Whitten, I believe.
Man, you're going way back now.
Yeah.
But he has 2 challengers. He's got Dan Eubanks, who's a state representative from Walls.
Yep.
I think he helped co-found the Freedom Caucus with Steve Hopkins, and was kind of part of a. What
are you laughing
at? I don't know what to say to that, but there was a kind of a core group in DeSoto County that formed the Freedom Caucus. He was one of the members of that.
Did he help do the DeSoto County Conservative Coalition? Was he part of that?
I think he's part of that as well. And then Colonel Burton.
Yeah.
Look it up real quick. I don't want to mess up the man's name.
Yeah.
It's Colonel Burton, but is it Gannon Burton?
I think everybody's probably got a text message from all of them here in the last couple of days.
Yeah. Well, I saw his campaign bus parked at Complete Home Center there on Commerce for a day or so. He was out there meeting people, but Roger Wicker does have 2 challengers in this Republican primary. Certainly from, we don't endorse candidates or anything like that. That's not the purpose of our podcast. We're just getting the information out there for folks.
Gannon Burton.
Gannon Burton, okay. I want to make sure I had it correct there. Clearly he's a colonel, veteran. Certainly appreciate his service to our country and wants to serve our country and on the other side of things now.
He's a Mississippi State graduate.
Okay.
He's a Marine Corps from 91 to 2021.
Wow, 30-year veteran. So that's his career there.
Yeah, I believe.
Wow.
If you I hadn't really done a lot of research on him in particular, but I believe he was a Top Gun pilot. I believe is.
Wow. Okay.
Like the movie Top Gun, he went to that program there and flew planes in the Navy. So strong guy, nice guy. We had the Republican, DeSoto County Republican
Yes.
club, or was that the club or the
club?
Club had a little event. I think that was last Tuesday with him and Mr. Eubanks, and then Miss Gail Wicker, which is Roger's wife, and they did kind of a Q&A and talked about some of the things, support. So it was interesting to go there. I think it's fair to say, Ben, that Mr. Eubanks and Mr. Burton are kind of maybe to the right of Mr. Wicker on some positions, and so that's what we have elections for in this country. So people,
That's right.
People have the choice to vote for their leaders, and they'll make the choice.
And then also this is it's an open primary, correct? So
Yes.
you either say I'm voting Republican or I'm voting Democrat in these primaries.
That's right.
You're also voting for president,
Yeah. So
Republican or Democrat. So
you have to pick one side. So if you're going to vote Republican, you get to vote for the Senate. I'm not even sure if there's a Democratic candidate for Senate, to be honest with you, Ben.
I think there is. I think I think her name's Diane Black. Is that
Okay.
right?
Yeah. She's ran for some other things, I believe.
I think that's who it is. But and then for president, I mean the presidential nominations are pretty much sewn up. I mean the incumbent president.
Yeah, I think Nikki Haley dropped out the other day, and I think
she did after Super Tuesday. She dropped it.
The gentleman who's running against Biden, I think he never really had much support. He dropped out as well. So
that one's pretty much sewn up, but
so that
will be on the ballot. Again. Yeah, definitely a lot of age there, but so we kind of know what's going on there. We should know, I would think, fairly quickly. Next Tuesday, who the nominee is for U.S. Senate and also for
I haven't seen any public polling or anything, but I would think Roger Wicker probably would be the favorite to win. But again, we have elections, and we'll see what happens.
I think and sometimes fundraising and all that stuff matters. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sure.
From a fundraising standpoint, Roger Wicker has a very large margin from a fundraising standpoint on both these gentlemen. But there's plenty of voters out there that don't like that.
That's right.
as well.
I can say this. I went down to Jackson. Was that last week? And
sure.
Dan Eubanks does have a lot of signage and things up in the northern part of the state, but I think once you get a little further south, you don't see a lot of his stuff. And I hadn't seen really much from Mr. Burton south, with the exception of his bus. I think he's making tours around. So.
It's grassroots politics. Sometimes that stuff is more powerful than people realize. And, if you have actually met Mr. Eubanks or Colonel Burton.
And I met them all. They're both very nice men. Miss Gail, I met her too as well.
Yep.
And they're all nice people, and I think they all are passionate for what they're doing, and they think they have the best ideas. And if they're successful, I think we'll have to be rooting for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got that coming up on Tuesday. So that's what's coming up. What we do this week? We got a Board of Alderman meeting on Tuesday.
Yes, we did.
Packed house. We already talked about some of the folks that we.
It wasn't there for the meeting. They were there for the kids.
Had a great pledge of allegiance.
Yes.
They did a great job. Round of applause for them as well. We had
a presentation from the dispatcher.
We did.
A lot of times, I think they're forgotten about. Because they're on the other side of the radio a lot. They're not actually on the scene. So she gave us a lot of information on what some things they're doing to improve there, and I think get some certifications and different things. So, Hernando is one of the smaller police departments in the county, and so they have obviously one of the smaller dispatch centers in the county. I think she had 2 or 3 at a time on a shift or whatever. So.
And she's a fairly new director as well, but I think she had a great presentation.
Yeah, I think she was a little nervous at first. She got into it.
Sure,
she got into it.
I get that. Public speaking is.
Everybody's not gifted like you, man. You got the radio voice.
No. I don't.
You got to see this guy. He's got his hat on backwards over here.
Oh
he looks like Howard Stern over here, man. You got to see him.
Oh my gosh, you're out of control. We approved the lowest and best bid, $125,000 for the restroom project at Kirkendall Park. So, if you are somebody that frequents Kirkendall Park and uses the track and all that sort of thing,
yes, we'll
soon have that issue dealt with out there.
That's another commitment to our parks. We've I think we're hunting for a grant to redo the track there as well, and we've going to put a new bathroom there. We've planted some trees with some help from the I think the Young Women's Club, and We took the bleachers down. We've done some NCRS grant to get some of the trees out of the way and made it a lot safer.
We've
And I tell you, Ben,
and we've put in for a grant to get the lighting addressed out there.
Yes.
We haven't gotten word on it yet. It'll probably be about 6 months before we hear back on it. But that would be something else potentially that's out there.
Right, and we're using the trail grant, the same thing we got for Renaissance Park, the same type of grant to redo the walking track there. So we're hoping that Mr. Bill Kincaid is the chairman of that committee. He can help us secure some funding for that grant. So
it's definitely taken a lot of work to get that park where it should be, but it is slowly but surely getting there. And I know a lot of people who use it and walk there every day, so I know they're appreciative of it. But the other thing, we had a few other things here. We set the speed limit in Magnolia Manor subdivision to 25 miles an hour. Apparently, we didn't have a speed limit there, so I guess you could drive as fast as you wanted to. I think we had somebody text us like, could I have been going 100 miles an hour and not get pulled over? I guess.
I think they couldn't give you a speeding ticket, but I think they'd probably give you a reckless driving ticket.
Yeah, that is a thing. Then we had a discussion on the interlocal agreement with the county and all of the other cities in DeSoto County to fund 2 forensic scientists to handle drug-related cases.
I think we had talked about that kind of before. We knew that was coming. So
our county district attorney did a quick little presentation on it. Matthew Barton gave a little presentation on it, basically just saying that the state crime lab is behind. There's people who, they have drug convictions and they can't get results on.
Yeah, I think he mentioned maybe 18-month wait for narcotics, and there's been some changes in the law since the medical marijuana came out, and it's requiring some additional testing. And I think he's trying to be proactive and getting ahead of it and trying to get us up in a position to speed those cases up. I think my position, Ben. I asked him.
Right.
I think this is a state function of government, and I would really encourage our state legislators to get us funding to fund the crime lab properly. But if not, I guess we will have to work with the other cities to keep our citizens safe and prosecute crimes in a timely manner.
So what the city ended up doing is we have our city attorney going into negotiations with the other cities in the county to figure out how much this is actually going to cost. And kind of in the short term and the long term, before we make any kind of decision on it.
And one thing too, I think we're all looking at estimates. We hadn't really got the pen to paper to see what 2 people are going to cost and how that agreement works. I think Mr. Barton was talking about they would only process cases from DeSoto County.
Because these would be DeSoto County employees. These would be DeSoto County employees, from my understanding.
That wasn't really clarified. We'll have to get that clarified. We're kind of at the front of this. I asked him, did he feel like this is going to be something that happened pretty quick? He said he thought so. It's going to be a pretty good hit to our budget if we're not able to kind of put it in there, the budget next year that starts in October.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little time to get it all negotiated out. But we do have 6 more months in this in this current budget.
Yeah.
So
I guess we do, don't we?
Yes, sir. We'll have to see how that goes down, but I'm sure we'll hear back from our city attorney and.
Have we mentioned
2 to 4 weeks.
While I'm thinking about it, Ben, the fire at Hampton Inn? Have we mentioned that on here?
I think we have not talked about that because I think it came between shows. But yeah, we had really honestly, the Hampton is the tallest building in Hernando.
Yes.
It could have been a catastrophic fire that that could have been deadly for sure.
Great response from our first responders.
Incredibly fortunate that we had the kind of response that we did. And that the staff at the hotel did their job to get everybody out of there.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I think our fire chief, I spoke with him, Marshall Berry, he's our fire chief. He said that when they got there, almost everybody was accounted for except one person. So they didn't have to, go searching, or it ended up the person they were looking for was behind the building. And they were able to locate them pretty quickly. So they weren't having to go door to door, getting people out of the building. Everything worked like it was supposed to. But it seems like, and I think it's going to be something we have to look at some point, that some mulch outside the building was caught fire by a smoking device. I guess it was a cigarette or whatever it was, and then the fire climbed up the side of the building all the way to the rooftop.
Something to do with the column, right? The column's hollow, and I think the flame was able to kind of make
basically like a fire chute. I mean, it just climbed right up there. But I think it might be something that we have to look at. And some other cities in DeSoto County have looked at this, where you don't have mulch. You could put it in your design guidelines that mulch doesn't go all the way up to buildings.
I got you.
So you have like a layer of rock or brick or whatever it is around all your buildings, and then you have the mulch. So that way it can't really, you don't have a dry mulch that could catch on fire and catch the building on fire. So that might be something we have to look at.
Well, we're supposed to be smoking 25 feet from a building, I believe.
That definitely crossed my mind as well. So, but that is that is definitely something that I'm glad that there was no injuries, obviously no fatalities from that. Fire department did a great job. We had a really great donation from our Sonic and Mr. Dean Darnell. He brought, I think, cheeseburgers and fries and drinks and all kind of stuff for all the firefighters that were out there.
Dean's a great guy.
He's fantastic. He's always there to support those guys. He does a great job. He does a great job with supporting the schools as well. But so that was kind of the story there with the Hampton Inn. More to come, I guess, at some point. Hopefully they're not. I'd heard it maybe early 2025 before they're back open. Yeah, potentially.
Well, and to talk kind of financials, that's going to be a hit to the city a little bit. We received some funding from our tourism. We have a tourism tax that I think gets $1 per room per day or something like that goes into, and that funds a lot of what I think Miss Gia does with some of like the Dickens of a Christmas program and some of those things that we do. And so we'll have to maybe reevaluate that because that's going to basically be cut off. And I think we've said on here too, Ben, that Hernando is still so small that we're very dependent on Hampton Inn, Kroger, Walmart, any of those things. You have a fire or something in those buildings, it really puts us in a bad spot when that tax revenue stops coming in.
We will have to wait and see what the true impact is, and hopefully get back with y'all on those once we know. But then we had a couple planning things. Well, before we get to the planning things, let's talk about. This is something that I've been irritated with for a while. To be honest, we've been talking about it for a while. The intersection at Mackinville and Green Tea Road.
Yes,
So anybody that's gone in that direction, as you're going up towards 269, Green Tea crosses over there, and you have stop signs on Green Tea, but you don't have any kind of way to stop on Mackinville. It's very obvious that there's a blind spot.
it was a four-way stop at one time.
It was a four-way stop at one point. Now it's you roll through there. If you're on Mackinville, you have to stop. If you're on Green Tea, there's been, that hasn't been opened up, but for maybe, I don't know, 2 years.
Yeah,
not even 2 years.
Yeah, we were in office because we had the ground ribbon cutting and stuff.
And it was literally from one of the first days it was open. I remember getting a text from my wife saying, like, y'all need some more signs out here. Like, it's really hard to see. And what?
I think even before it was opening, there was people complaining about putting rumble strips up and things like that to stop people.
And there was some signage that was added. There was flashing lights that's already been added to the stop signs. I kept kind of bringing it up. Hey, it's really dark. It's hard to see. We got a street light put out there. Hopefully, we got more street lights coming. But MDOT is doing a traffic study now to figure out if
the old traffic study.
Yeah, there's a traffic study that is apparently being scheduled and getting done to say that this intersection warrants more traffic devices or whatever it needs to be, and get their recommendation from MDOT. From what we have been told, the previous administration agreed to not put any kind of traffic signal or anything like that there until a traffic count warranted it. That was the agreement they made with MDOT. Clearly, with the high school going in, the new high school that's going in north on Mackinville, that's going to be something that
to be fair to the prior minute, that was before they knew,
no.
They knew that that was going to be there.
Right, absolutely. That's what I'm saying is that with the new high school coming in, the traffic count is clearly going to increase even more. You also have AWG opening. I mean, there's a lot of factors there that the previous administration didn't know about that was going to be coming down the pike. But that was an agreement that they made. That's the only point that I was making. That's why something hasn't been done up until now. But we also could have probably gotten the traffic study done sooner. I think that's fair to say.
I think the chief of police mentioned 19 accidents and one fatality there in the 2 years or so it's been there.
That to me, it's something that has to happen.
I think everybody knows.
As possible.
I know you've mentioned it several times to the mayor and to the board, so we've really maybe may need to really get that moving. I know Alderman Robinson's really
Yes.
strongly in for making some improvements. I think everybody is, but I know they've mentioned some things to me. So
It's probably the highest priority. To me, it's one of the highest priority things we got going on right now to get addressed. But so things are coming there.
didn't we do something with the baseball field? Did we contract that out or something? Do we need to mention that? There's some kind
Yes, we can do that as well. We approved the recreation design services contract between the city and Kimley Horn and Associates. And got that contract signed. So, we had a process where all of the engineering firms that were interested in doing this, they all had presentations that were made to the city. I think it was about four or five different engineering firms that came in. I know Pickering firm was in there.
Civil Link, I believe.
Yeah, that all kind of bid for the services, and Kimley Horn was selected, and so we're just basically just getting that contract signed is what that was. But that's what that sort of looked like. When it comes to professional services, it's a little bit of a different. It's looked at a little differently. Correct? Is that
You don't have to bid it out in a formal bidding process because essentially you don't know how much, what that's going to cost. Really the bidding guidelines and things are based on cost. So, usually they're going to help you bid a project out or consult with you into designing a project to what you want and then put it out for bid. So
That's
the
right.
professional services are kind of exempt from the bidding laws. But what we did was to be transparent, let everybody come in, and I think there was a committee. I don't know, I'm not sure who was all on the committee, but I think it was Jared, the mayor, and some other people. And they kind of graded each person, and the one with the highest grade got the bid, which was obviously Kimberly Horn.
Yep. So the two planning things that we talked about, Elm Street and Robinson, there's looking for a rezoning from R12 to a PUD. It's a really small lot. It's only a third of an acre, but the developer, John Lovell, wanted to take that property and rather than putting a single-family home on there, I think had asked to put a triplex there and then had rolled that back to a duplex. The Planning Commission denied it. Ultimately, the city denied the rezoning on Tuesday after hearing some comments from neighbors who are concerned about, among other things, parking in that area, deliveries that would be made to those areas, certainly just traffic in general. I think that area has just gotten more and more traffic with the way the city's grown. So I think there's been some growing pains there.
Yeah, I think the big issue that we heard there was that he was trying to do a multi-family or apartments, condos, duplexes, whatever you want to call it, and there was some strong opposition for those in that Elm Street area. There's some very nice homes, some older homes, historic areas there, and so there were some of the residents made some very strong points on why they felt this was not in the best interest of the city, and at the end of the day, the majority of the board agreed with them and denied the rezoning to a PUD, which would allow him to do the multifamily duplex. And I think from talking to him after the meeting, John's a great guy. He's just going to build a residential home there and be a rental home on the corner. So
yeah, and he has other properties in the area.
Yeah.
He has other rental properties in the area, so he was I think he was surprised that there was people that weren't for it, but
Sure.
I definitely understand the frustration there. The other zoning, request we had was to go from agricultural to C4. This is at the southwest corner of Getwell and Holly Springs.
The old C-store.
A convenience store that was there. It was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission.
Initially tabled, and they worked some issues. I think they worked some issues out, and then they came back and approved it.
And it was approved by the city as well, 4-3 vote. I think you and I have we voted the same way. We both voted against the rezoning, probably for different reasons, though.
You want to start?
I would say that to me, the timing is not right on it. You've got a fairly large neighborhood that's going to be going in back behind there called Ridgestone.
Yes, you brought that up at the meeting.
That has not really gotten going just yet. But to me, it's something where as that neighborhood develop out, then maybe now it's time to have a commercial corner out there. The other part of it is that that would be to me something that would greatly change that area, that would necessitate a zoning change. So that was probably the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, and I think I brought this up before. I think we've added something to this would be the 15th or 16th gas station convenience store in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we tried to put some measures in place to kind of slow that down. I'm not going to say moratorium, like some cities have said, but
right,
to really look at those. And this particular developer has found a way to go around that by making a C4, which basically allows him to choose the type of usage without having to get a conditional use. And so it's just a way to go without having to get that conditional use, because I think he felt like the board probably would not approve a conditional use for a gas station there. And so that was my reasoning for turning it down. I don't think we need another gas station, especially on that side of town. I don't think the growth is there yet. And I think we've...
there is one going in. There's one going in at Getwell and 269.
Getwell and 269?
At the collection of Getwell Farms.
Yeah, I guess
there's
that's
one
true.
There's one going in there, so it's literally right up the road. You're going to have something coming in.
Not right up the road. I would argue not right up the road.
Well, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that there's one going in there, so you don't necessarily need one.
Yeah.
I mean, second one
there, but I think also what we've done while allowing this usage is that's kind of a weird area where the county is right across the street. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they're going to put another one. The county's going to. I'm sure now we've kind of changed the what's the criteria that we want. Mm-hmm. They've changed the nature of that area, so now I'm sure there will be a gas station on the other corner as well.
Mm-hmm. It could happen.
Yeah, and the young lady mentioned, I think one of the people, very well put together presentation.
Absolutely.
Mentioned the crime and things like that comes with those things in that area. Now I did think it was funny that Chief Police said he lives out there, so he'll make sure there's a strong. He
might be stopping in and getting a biscuit every morning to make sure the crime is under control.
And there was another lady that was kind of long-winded, I think, that was talking about the not planting her trees or something, Ben. So.
Yeah, I think she's moved down here she moved up here from Vicksburg. I think
that's what she said.
She was she was thinking about planting some trees on her property, and if there's going to be a lot of changes like this, she's just not going to plant them.
She didn't want the gas station. She was anti-gas station. And I understand that. I think that was probably the two most controversial things, and probably took the majority of the meeting. And again, you have to make tough decisions, and I try to make the best decision with what I got. And
that's it.
I think that's what we did.
Let me ask you this. After a meeting, it's on Tuesday. At the Piper household, it's Taco Tuesday. That's what we do.
Every Tuesday?
Taco Tuesday. Okay. That's what we do. It's a taco salad or, whatever, more traditional tacos or whatever it is. But what do you, after your meeting, you go home and do you eat dinner beforehand or after?
A lot of times they've already eaten dinner typically.
Yeah.
And in my house, I'm the chef usually. So if I'm not there, they're eating, frozen pizza or maybe takeout or something. So I think the other day they had, I think she made frozen pizza. And so I had a couple pieces of that when I got home. And then,
gotcha.
Because I'm not like you. I don't stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning every night.
I definitely don't do that.
So
I'm usually in bed. I'm usually asleep by 9:30. Yeah, so that was a late night for me on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But so the reason I brought that up, we do Taco Tuesday. I don't know if you've had this or not, and this is a shout out. We don't have any advertising on this podcast. This is free advertising for them. They do plenty of it on social media and whatever. But the Mrs. Hippie Eats.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So I guess she's making like a kind of like old Poncho's dressing.
Really?
Yeah. She calls it liquid gold. It comes in a little bottle. You put that stuff on a taco, man. I'm telling you,
I like tacos.
It is good stuff. It is good stuff. So a little shout out to them. They do a great job. We picked some of that up, and it was really good. We really jazzed up old taco night at the Piper House. So
Heather and Joey,
good people.
Heather's a cook. I see Joey in the gym a lot. Before I got exiled down in Tate County, I would go see him in the gym every day at lunch, just about. So
exile, like you Napoleon or something.
That's right. I'm an exile.
Hey, Tate County, great. What else we got before we wrap this thing up?
I think that's it. We got a spring
T-ball,
break.
baseball season about to get started.
So baseball starting. I think I'm stacking my team here.
If you hadn't heard from your coach yet,
I think they had the draft on Tuesday.
Okay,
so
you should soon.
Yeah, so they should be reaching out this week probably, or maybe after the week after.
Are you doing coach pitch again?
Yeah, we're 6U baseball. So
coach pitch.
Yeah, I took 2 off the skull last year, man. I got to be careful.
Yeah, man. I saw the video. It was pretty scary out there.
So other than that, I think there's police have award ceremony tonight. I don't know if that's open to the public or not, but they certainly usually do a pretty good presentation there for all the guys.
And then spring break next week.
Spring break next week.
You already said you're going to D.C.
You're going to D.C.
Piper family's going to Dallas.
There you go. Dallas is cool.
Yeah, we're going to go check out the Six Flags. Kids like riding roller coasters, and for some reason they're Dallas Cowboys fans. I don't know why.
Really?
I'm not a Dallas Cowboys.
You can tour the facility.
That's what
their headquarters are down in the. They play out.
That's what we're planning on doing. So we're gonna check that out for a couple days, and then go to Buc-ee's. One of our kids asked to go to Buc-ee's, and so we're gonna. I
can guess which one wants to go to Buc-ee's.
It's the littlest one.
Really?
Yeah,
Ramsey wants to go to Buc-ee's?
But she calls it Buc-ee's World. She thinks it's like Disney World, so she's going to be extremely disappointed when she finds out that it's a gas station. But yeah, so we'll have to see how that goes. But I'll bring you back some beef jerky from Texas, and looking forward to spring break, man.
I think that's it. We got
perfect.
Getting ready for the spring. The weather's starting to change. Time changes this weekend, so
don't forget to spring forward. Easter will be here before we know it.
And check your fire alarms.
Absolutely.
Or smoke detectors, I'm sorry.
That's it. All right. Well, that's all we've got for you this week. Signing off here, Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
Ward 4 Alderman Chad Wicker.
Thanks for listening to the Boardroom Podcast.
Have a safe spring break.